This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Let me stall a second. Hi, welcome to Moments of Clarity. This is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we have a guest from the UK, and he's done some phenomenal things. I'm trying to get us live on Facebook, and it's lagging so much. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. So what a shame, though, if we can't do this like this. Anyway, okay, so let me introduce my guest, and then we'll see what we can do on break at least. So my guest today is from Windsor in the United Kingdom, and he has overcome a life-threatening illness where he was basically paralyzed and taught himself to reinvent his life and do it for charity. Before I introduce my guest, I want to say hi to Ed behind the screen. And Ed, thanks for so much for all you do.
What happened there in the beginning?
We can't get on Facebook Live for some reason.
No,
it's lagging.
Your intro started, and then I was like, got a minute?
I know. I was like, I'm not ready. I'm stall.
Sounds like
live radio.
Sound like your internet's kind of slow wherever
but
you're
anyway,
at.
You know how you say, gotta love live radio. People
Yep.
say, gotta love live radio. You taught me that years ago.
Yep.
Just go with the flow, and we roll with the tide, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So how you doing? How you doing with everything, Ed? Every week,
good.
Going on and on.
It was nice to loosen up the restrictions a little bit this week. So, nice to see places that are starting to open up and stuff like that. So,
you're happy to see that, or do you think it's too soon?
No, I think it's time, as long as it doesn't go in the other direction. And I don't think it will.
Like frozen. Are you happy to see that, or do you think it's too soon?
No, I think it was time. I think in each state, and probably maybe even each county in the U.S. is going to be different.
I don't know. I hope we don't freeze like this throughout the show. My personal opinion, because I don't think that we have our medical team in place yet, our medical facilities and the vaccine and things like that in place. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking for me, at least, people with anxiety and things like that, I guess. Anyway, so my guest today is from the UK and from Windsor, and such a nice gentleman. I met him through a friend of mine, actually Don Lawson, who introduced us. And Don Lawson is the one that wrote the theme song for Moments of Clarity that we hear all the time, which I just happen to love. Don does a lot of songs for charity, and I'm sure that's how you guys met, and I can't wait to hear all about it. But and he founded the Children with Cancer charity, and he has a wonderful story that led up to it. And I want to introduce to Moments of Clarity, Freddy Stratton. Hi, Freddy. I'm so sorry about the video lagging, but the radio is good. So just pretend it's just all radio, okay?
Yeah, okay.
It is. So Freddy, let's start from the beginning. I mean, you've got such a phenomenal story that led you to where you are today. And I know that you were a taxi driver in the United Kingdom. Yes. And so get a little bit closer to the mic.
Yeah, my taxi rank is outside Windsor Castle, So I used to, do lots of different jobs, including occasionally going to the castle and pick up people that had been visiting the Queen and then take them back to the airport. So that's where I spent 30 years of my life, outside Windsor Castle.
outside Windsor Castle. That's amazing. If you could get a little bit closer to the microphone so we can hear you a little bit clearer, that's what matters the most. I want to be able to hear your story. I mean, visually, we're obviously not going to make that happen today, but I want to be able to hear you clearly because your story is amazing. Okay, so you were a taxi driver outside Windsor Castle, and
what happened is that roundabout sort of like 2010, 2012, I mainly did taxi driving for elderly and disabled. I found that they always had a nice story to tell, so I switched from doing like normal airport jobs to actually specialising for the elderly. And I built up quite a big clientele of elderly customers that I used to take to shopping, take them to the doctors, take them to the hospital. And so we've built up a nice little business. And then 2012, I woke up in the morning and I was slightly paralysed down the left side.
Wow. That's going to be scary, just to wake up like that and all of a sudden be paralyzed down the left side.
Yeah, like, I mean, the first thing that goes through your mind is the first thing that goes through your mind is stroke.
Right.
But though I went into a stroke unit at the local hospital, and it turned out that, luckily enough, fingers crossed, I didn't actually have a stroke. They sent me for tests, and I had this lumbar puncture where they put a hole into the spine at the back to check the fluids, and it turned out I had an inflammation in the spine, which I think they said was called transverse myelitis. And so it basically took out a lot of the left side, but it started to come back. The feeling started to come back, but part of the for me to get the left side working properly again was really, I'd always wanted to play an instrument, and obviously didn't want to do a trombone or anything like that, so I chose the easy thing of a nice keyboard, much to my wife's displeasure, because she said to me, "I don't know why you bought that, you can't play it."
Right, because you have to be ambidextrous to play a keyboard with two hands, right? Yeah. And well, one second, Freddie, I have questions. With the left side was all paralyzed, and they took out. How did they repair that? You thought it was a stroke, but it was
it was. You know what they say? Time's a good healer. And I spent about 5 days in the actual stroke unit, but the feeling started to come back. Although some of it felt very numb, the feeling did start to come back, but it wasn't 100% like it was before. In early years, I suffered a type of migraine called hemiplegic migraine, which gives the same sensations of paralysis down one side. So I knew basically what they were like, but this one didn't seem to come out like the old ones. So I knew there was something different that was actually going on with me in the body. So, but as I say, they did the lumbar puncture, and the long and the short of it was I had this thing called transverse myelitis. And the left side just really wasn't mine. It didn't feel like mine anymore. You know, I was getting weird sensations. I could put my leg up against a radiator and it felt freezing cold. The left side wasn't talking to the brain properly. You know, so.
How long did that last? Those feelings and that sensation and the paralysis, everything.
I still suffer from some of those things today. I've still got slight numbness in different parts on the left side, but I've just over the years just got used to it. You know, it's just one of those things. But it was on buying the keyboard that helped. As I say, my wife couldn't understand why I bought it because I couldn't play. But I basically just sat at the keyboard, and hell, the neighbours didn't move because I gave Greensleeve a good bashing for a good 6 months trying to learn how to play it.
Good bashing. I love it.
But the keyboard got better. The left side was getting better. And I was just messing around with a few chords one day and just composed a song. Didn't really think much of it, just one of those things. By this time, I'd actually given up being a taxi driver and became a carer to a lot of the customers that were my taxi customers. And there was one lady in particular, Jean Taylor. She had a keyboard, and she would allow me to go onto her keyboard and mess around on her keyboard. So I'd have my keyboard at home, her keyboard when I visited her. So I was getting 2 lots of therapy. Mm-hmm. And she was quite instrumental in me trying to take the music further. And so I made up this tune. I didn't really think much of it, but decided to make a copy of it and put it in the car. And I was picking up one of the ladies one day, and we were going shopping, and she said, this is nice. And I said, do you like it? She said, yes. She said, it's very nice. Where can I get a copy of it from? Of course, she was joking at first. I said, well, you can buy a copy from me if you like. You know.
Why, it's mine.
And so I explained to her that I'd composed it, because I couldn't use the word write because I can't read or write music to save my life. But I have a tendency to sit at the keyboard, compose a song, put it all together, make a copy of it, and then put it on a CD. And then that's what I did, and she liked a copy of it. So I thought, well, that was nice. I wonder if I can do a bit more of this. So I composed a couple more songs. And then, unfortunately, one of the main people that I've been looking after, her name was Joan Hyde. And she, unfortunately, was diagnosed with cancer. And she was quite elderly. She was in her 90s. So, she was still a very energetic person. But it was so sad seeing her go through cancer. And she had always loved the songs that I composed. And so every time I sold a song, what I would do is I would donate the money to Cancer Research UK. And
she passed from cancer. When was that? 2000.
April of 2014.
2014,
I nursed her up to palliative care, and then I lost her. And I was so taken back with it because of what she had been in my life. And I thought to myself, well, I wonder if I can keep Joan's memory alive through the music. And I suddenly noticed that there are so many cancers out there. I mean, apart from what adults go through, children, there's so many different types. And I thought to myself, well, children haven't really had a good start in life. They've been born basically into illness. And so I thought, well, I wonder if I can do some good. So I looked to see what domain names were available. And luckily enough, there was a domain name, childrenwithcancercharity.org. And I thought, right, that's it. I'll start it. So I did that. How
did you come up with the name, actually? Like you were just saying? I was wondering, because it's kind of just right to the point.
Yeah.
Lo and behold. So
what did I want to do? I wanted to
promote
cancer. Cure children with cancer.
It's just to the point.
So that was it.
When Don had sent me the link and it was children with cancer, I'm thinking I was going to find a fancier, different name, and it's just to the point. I want to help children with cancer, and here's the charity.
Yeah.
I love that because it doesn't beat around the bush. It just kind of basically no fluff to it. And of course, who doesn't want to help children with cancer? I mean, they have such a rough start at life, and it's so unfair. It seems like, doesn't.
Well, the thing is, I even say in my bio that children, they deal with it on a day-to-day basis, and they don't moan. They just get on with it. And I thought the trouble with some cancers, there's no accounting for age. It doesn't care how old you are.
Right.
If it's in you, it's in you. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can do my bit just to, even if I only bring a certain amount of awareness to the illness, then I'll do that. And so what I did, I got a shirt done, Children with Cancer Charity, did a little logo on it just to just to say to the point what it was for. It was for Children with Cancer Research. And that was it. I just started it. But because of my age, I wasn't selling many copies of my songs because I'm the first to say that I'm ancient and make easy listening music.
Easy listening is ancient.
Yeah.
You're not ancient, but that's your style of music, right? Soft rock or soft music.
Yeah.
And But before you keep going on, because you're going to get into something that's really exciting, and I want the listeners to stay tuned, because the next part of your journey